Baby's first jailbreak. Perhaps you've heard of the story of a baby boy named Frank who turned his home into a zoo by stealing from the bank. The problem was he got caught out, and so to pay his debts, Frank's mum and dad charged visitors to see his many pets. Soon baby Frank was famous, and each day there was a queue. The whole town couldn't wait to see the baby with a zoo. But over time, Frank's parents saw their crowds were getting small, until that day, Dad announced, "There's no one here at all." Out on a walk one afternoon, the reason became clear. A vain and pampered baby had just stolen their idea. The other baby's name was Bruce. His mum and dad were rich. They'd had his zoo constructed on their private polo pitch. They had tigers wearing tutus and dancing chimpanzees. Elephants on bicycles were lined up for a race. There were penguins dressed as waiters handing out ice creams for free, and everywhere were flags and signs with Bruce's grinning face. It was during a performance by some acrobatic deer that Mum declared, "I've had enough, let's get out of here." As they went out through the gift shop, Dad sighed. "They've got us beat. Our animals don't dance at all. How can we compete?" That night, Frank had a visitor, a penguin escapee, who, using squawks and flaps and mime, conveyed a heartfelt plea. "Please save us from that baby Bruce. All he does is train us. I don't think he likes penguins much. He just wants to be famous. Each morning, we get up at dawn to practice dance routines, and sometimes we don't break for lunch. He treats us like machines." Frank agreed to help and got his crayons out to make a clever plan, and so he could lead a daring prison break. By 2 a.m. the plan was set, and Frank was on his way. He took along some friends of his to help him save the day. Problem 1 was getting in, as Bruce had built a wall. But Frank was ready with a friend whose neck was very tall. The penguin's door was bolted shut, but opened with a creak. Once the lock was neatly picked by a hummingbird's long beak. Then I swung orangutan and grabbed the penguin's huddle to carry them to freedom in a long-armed hairy cuddle. And as they passed the tortoise house, a cry came from a shell. The tortoises weren't very happy, so Frank took them all as well. He set free the hyena and the wombats and the ape, till every creature in the zoo had joined the great escape. The next morning, Frank was woken by his parents, looking troubled. They asked him, "Can you tell us why our animals have doubled?" Frank pointed to the penguins sleeping soundly on the floor, but before he could explain, they heard a knock upon the door. Bruce had brought his mum and was looking very cross. She said, "My son thinks you're behind our recent creature lost." They stormed into the house, but as they looked around the place, Bruce's mum soon lightened up. A smile spread on her face. "Brucey, darling, can't you see? These animals are cheerful. They simply can't belong to us. All of ours are tearful." And so they both departed, as Bruce let out a yell. Mum said, "Forget the animals, they made an awful smell." After that, it wasn't long before Frank's crowds returned, and soon the bank had repaired with all the cash he earned. Everyone agreed the zoo was better than before, especially once space was found by purchasing the next door. And as for Bruce, his quest for fame should take off very soon. He's working on a rocket ship to take him to the moon.